You trying to tell me we're recording this?
Yeah, put it away, Drew.
Oh my God. Little warning next time, sir.
Yes. I'll do better at warning you next time, other than going, hey, I'm recording now, just so you know.
Dude, the
Uh,
gang is all back together, man. I mean, the
I
gang of
know.
two, you know?
I mean, two is a gang. It's a gaggle of geese. It's a murder of crows. It's a crash of rhinos. I don't know
Is that
anymore.
real? Is that really what a rhino herd is called? A crash?
Yeah, you know why?
Why? Because they are really clumsy and big.
Because like a train, they take a while to stop, and they can't see close. They can only see 8 feet in front of them. They can't see close in front of them because of the way that their eyes are. So if you're within 8 feet and it hasn't slowed down, you're gonna get crashed.
Get out of the way. Hmm.
Yep. I
I'll
know.
remember
I
that.
know a bunch of useless information about animals. Um,
Well, that may prove to be useful at some point. I'm not jury's out on whether it's useless at this point. So appreciate the info, sir.
I mean, if we get stuck in Gremoryland and we have to do a trivia, the quiz is, what animal has the biggest penis in relative to its body? It would be.
The human being. Did you did
Maybe
you
you.
see what
Maybe you.
it,
Um, what
I
are
mean,
you
I've
trying
seen
to say?
videos, but
No, not the human being. We are the largest when it comes to primates, simply because of evolution based off of what women want, even though that's not the case in my situation. But that's another interesting fact. I love evolutionary anatomy as well.
so what's the animal?
I
You don't remember?
don't remember. No,
Well, I
but
was thinking about that skit.
it's like I want to say it's like some crustacean or something where it actually comes out pretty far. But animal dicks don't really look like dicks. They look like deflated
Spaghetti.
balloons. Yeah.
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 No, no, it wasn't a skit. Somebody, I guess, was making themselves feel better. And anyway, it's a meme where they were talking about like they took the measurements of a horse when they said hung like a horse, and like relative to the weight of the horse, it's not sensational weight wise, I think. And then they were like, humans are actually hung better than horses on average, weight wise. And I'm like, I don't know, we come in all shapes and sizes, but anyway, I appreciate the effort, and trying to make yourself feel better and all. So whatever.
I've never thought about weight when it comes to genitalia, but
Right, that was my thoughts.
except
Like,
for
wait a minute.
like, because usually whenever you get extreme weights, you don't see it so well. Why are we talking about dicks, you may ask? Because it's me and Drew. That's all we talk about. But
I mean,
also, we are talking about the graphic novel collection of webtoons, whatever you want to call it, called Gremoryland.
oh, it
Hooray.
disappeared because yeah, there it is.
Oh, shut up. By A. Rasen. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
I was
Um,
what I was saying rosin, but I don't know.
well, raisins are cool too.
I like raisin.
Thank you all for returning to Mikey and Friends TNA. Today is the first entry of what I like to call friendly booze. Do you know why I call it friendly booze, Drew Aboo?
Well, I imagine it's a play on words. Boo, right? Boo, because you're the horror aficionado, correct? And I'm guessing booze has something to do with you forcing me to buy this vodka. Well, I didn't buy it; I already had it in the house. But
Yeah,
um,
let's not kid ourselves.
and other ingredients that will mix with the vodka momentarily.
Yeah, so basically in this channel, I like to we have so many podcasts and video podcasts out there about movies and horror video games. We don't really have much about horror books, and the ones that we do don't really delve into horror comics or horror graphic novels. I mean, I'm even part of a horror podcast about movies. We had a horror podcast about movies. The books don't get so much love, but that's okay because I think, based off of my analyses, um, analyses, sounds like a disease, but Another pun. Um, I don't think podcast is the right avenue for what people would consider booktube, which is YouTube, but like about books. So I'm kind of combining it. And also to go deeper, this friendly booze is specifically going to be about graphic novels because I like to throw them into the mix. Because sometimes if I get too much into a book, like right now, I'm reading A Court of Mist and Fury, which makes me think of that uh, Fist of Fury movie. It's A Court of Thorns and Roses Part 3, very long, very involved. I had to take a break. So I said, let's read a comic. Let's read a graphic novel. Specifically horror graphic novels. So that is what Friendly Booze is. And also I'm going to task my co-host of Friendly Booze to help me come up with a drink that would be on brand with whatever we're reading. So, Drew. Drew Boo. Drew Boo Booze. What was the drink that you chose?
So the drink that we chose, or that I chose, was it had a very clever name, but I don't remember it.
It
Do
was
you
like a
remember?
carnival. It was like a carnival something, or
Carnival cocktail of some sort. So Gremoryland is sort of a haunted or
we
a
don't know
horror,
yet
yeah,
because we
horror
also
based.
didn't know that this wasn't a complete story.
Right, right. But it's based in some in a carnival like atmosphere. So we wanted to go with something carnival based, something circusy, something like that. It's not a circus, but anyway, something like that. So I forget the name, but it was something like Carnival Cocktail or something along those lines. And it consists of, shall I tell them?
Yes, and while you tell them, I'm going to make it.
All right, it consists of three items that I don't usually consume.
Yeah, we had to go shopping, everybody.
And it is Dr. Pepper, which I never drink. I was trying to think on the way home earlier today when I bought the Dr. Pepper. When's the last time I've had it? And I honestly cannot tell you. It has to have been at least a decade. It's not my drink of choice, but vodka
Mm-hmm.
um, and cotton candy.
Representing Texas, we have Enchanted Rock. It's probably my favorite vodka.
All right, I'm going to scroll back on my texts, get the exact concoction just in case we want to be slaves to the truth,
Sure.
and see what it says. That's it. The CarnEvil Cottentini.
Oh,
That's a pretty
CarnEvil.
good name.
Well, have you ever played the CarnEvil video game?
No, I didn't even know there was one,
Yeah,
but
but
I want to.
it was only at the arcade. It's not like a
Oh, okay.
game you play at home. And it was
All
like
right.
a from the 90s. I used to play it all the time. It was really cool, like killer clowns and stuff, or like zombie clowns, and you just shoot them. But
Sweet.
what cotton candy is inherently scary. You know why?
Because usually you're in close proximity to a clown when you see some.
No,
No, okay.
because it looks like fiberglass.
Oh yeah.
And I can see a horror movie switcheroo happening. Well, the cotton candy dissolved very quickly in there. It's pretty much we just put a bunch of sugar in Dr. Pepper
Yeah, pretty much.
and alcohol. So sugar on sugar on sugar.
All right, so we're going 3 parts Dr. Pepper, 1 part vodka, according to the recipe.
Sure.
So I'm using my little shot glass here.
How much does it say to put for cotton candy? Because I kind of want to put more because that was really fun to watch.
Um, it says 1 Dr. Pepper cotton candy, and if you look at the picture that I sent you, you can't right now probably, because you got a new phone.
Yeah.
But it basically has a giant. The entire cup is full of cotton candy, like it soaked up all of the liquid.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? This is what makes this recipe ours. We're not using Dr. Pepper cotton candy. We're using Carnival cotton candy because we're not
Yes.
sponsored by Dr. Pepper. I don't
No.
typically drink Dr. Pepper. I don't hate the taste. It's not my favorite, but I will say Dr. Pepper has a Dr. Pepper Zero Cream Soda, and that's really good. That's my
It's
shit.
good. See,
Yeah.
you could very well be using Mr. Pibb, and we wouldn't even have any issues with the sponsors. All of our
Yeah.
sponsors come from other reputable companies, but
Like Trojan. Oh,
Yes.
it disappeared. Let me know when you're
All
ready to
right.
taste it. We can do first reactions together. Ready?
All right. Hold on. Hold on. Let me drop this cotton candy in.
Oh, it's fun. Watch it.
Let's drop it in.
It might
Mine's a
fizzle
mix of
over.
blue and red. How much did you put in yours?
Like the size of my palm, but also like compressed.
Hmm.
So I know
Look at this.
cotton candy's. Yeah, that's good.
All right. Here we go. Let's watch it soak. Oh God. Yeah. That kind of dissolves. That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun for me. I can see it. I don't know if they can see it because it's disappearing.
I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
disappears.
Something tells me this is going to be awful.
Oh, I think it's gonna be good. It's just gonna be very sweet. You ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Salute.
Okay. All right. Not as awful as I thought a minute ago. I
Do I
mean, I could
taste the
see.
cotton candy?
Yeah.
Maybe I put too much vodka. I don't know. It's fine. The Gremoryland pepper, everybody. Cotton
Yeah.
candy, vodka, Dr. Pepper, or Diet Dr. Pepper in my case, to your choosing.
I'll finish mine off.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be nursing this baby throughout the whole episode. Not that they're very long, but Gremoryland by A.
Yes.
Rasen, published
Yes.
in 2023. I saw this because I was at Walmart and it was there, and I was kind of like, it's probably like I thought it was gonna be like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Very glad I didn't let Olivia read it because everybody who has kids, this is not a child-friendly book. Um,
Correct.
but it looked kind of like a kids thing from the cover, like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Not like
Yeah.
little kids, but maybe like 8 or 9. And so I picked it up, and it was actually my birthday, and I was like, "Hey, Drew, let's read this for my birthday, and we'll record an episode." And you said, "Okay." And so you actually went the webtoon route because this is originally a webtoon, which is basically just a comic you read online, but they printed it out in paperback. Didn't know that it was going to be in two volumes though. I don't think volume 2 is out yet, but based off my research, volume 2 is coming, and volume 2 will close out the story. Don't know where it's going to go because do we have many survivors? No,
Um,
we don't.
spoilery answer here. Only about
Two.
two. Yeah.
And it's not
Only about
even two
two.
of the people that we like. Actually, I don't. Yeah. So, we'll get into a little bit. I'm not really big on spoiling books. I mean, a vague
Yeah.
spoiler is fine, but I don't want to give too much away because I think books are a big investment. And if someone hasn't read it yet, I want to let them be able to read it and not be like, oh, well, I know what happens because Mikey and Drew wouldn't shut up about it. Um,
I
but
agree.
overall, these the website or the internet says that they're supposed to be adults coming together for a reunion. Did you grasp that? Because I thought they were all in high school still.
Yeah, they all seem like high school kids to me. I
Yeah,
never considered that they were older than high school.
yeah,
Till you just
because
said it just now. That's the first time I ever thought that they would have been older than that.
yeah. So I don't know what I don't know. I'm very confused. The story is there's obviously some stuff that we're missing that it's going to be included later on in volume 2. Like there's more to the story, but in regards to the kids getting together, it's one social media influencer that gets invited to like a sneak peek of this new attraction called Gremoryland. The kids show up, the park's creepy, the park seems to know something about them, they all have their inner group drama, and the park sends out like animatronic type things, not like Five Nights at Freddy's, but just animatronic things that kill them. And it's actually kind of gory, and I appreciated that. Thank you, Walmart, for not only selling kid friendly censored stuff.
I got kind of like Westworld vibes more. And I mean like Westworld, like the movie, not the show where they're all naked.
Oh,
But
that's why I haven't seen it.
yeah, yes, we kept you from it. Yeah, like more like the original Westworld, where it's like clearly robots, that type of thing. So you're looking at Five Nights at Freddy's, and what they're walking animatronics. You know, I thought it was pretty cool. Most of these, well, some of them walk actually. No, never mind. I take that back. But most of them are like on wheels, right? Like they keep having them like on tracks, like
Yeah, like
um
a moving belt almost, like the things that you stand on an airport, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
felt kind of retro in that sense, rather than
Almost like
you know,
cartoony.
yeah,
But it is different enough to not be hooked on the concept of Five Nights at Freddy's the whole time. Um, I know you were reading the webtoon, and I was hoping so. You read the webtoon, but it stopped. The free version stopped at a certain point,
yeah,
and so I
basically
was
four
like,
chapters. So most of it I actually read from the book that you, by the way, thank you, sent me. When I realized that the webtoon doesn't give the whole thing away for free. So actually,
yeah,
most of it I read from the big volume.
yeah. And so it was because you were like, I told you something. You're like, how did yours end? And I was like, and I didn't want to ruin it in case you weren't there. And I
Yeah,
was like, this happened. You were like, mine ends with this happened. I was like, where are you? um, but
I'm pretty sure when I sent you the image of where I was, you were like, "No, most of those people are dead by now." And I
yeah,
was
I
like,
was
"Oh,
like, I'm pretty sure that's not the end because most of those people aren't alive anymore. um, but I was actually like gonna ask you before I knew that the webtoon was limited if the webtoon was a little different because there were some parts in the book that I felt even though it was gory and there's like language and violence, I felt there were some parts that may have been censored or maybe the guy just didn't put it in there because for example there's two characters. One's a gay man, thought it was a woman in the beginning. One's a gay man and the other one is like a
closeted."
closeted
Yeah,
guy. And so there comes a time when they're together and something happens and it kind of creates a weird situation with them. Um, but it wasn't that serious. I was like, either they cut out something that they did that would make it
yeah,
more serious, or they're overreacting over like one incident that isn't really that condemning. I don't know.
yeah. No, I don't know because that part that you're referring to wasn't in the online portion. So,
Yeah.
or was it? If it was the same because I kind of reread over it, and it was the exact same. It really like goes right to the spot where you're like, okay, well, this might be something, and then it cuts to later on the
Yeah,
afterglow.
and then like
You
they're
know?
in the background, like in the next scene. That's another reason is we go back into a scene where the other characters are because they're supposed to be separated, and those two guys are just in the background. So like, okay, I guess whatever was going on is done. So
Yeah,
that's why I
I
was like,
felt that way actually about 3 or 4 times where I was like, wait a minute, it seems like this is the abridged version. I know it's
yeah,
not, but it felt like I was like, wait a minute,
yeah,
something was cut. And I think it's probably because it's a webtoon and it's more of like an indie situation where it's like, dude, I can't draw every, you know what I mean? I can't illustrate every single frame like if we had a team, that type of thing. And that's what I figured it was, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I definitely felt that.
yeah. Another reason why I was like, I don't think this is edited is because they weren't afraid when it came to the sex stuff. It's not super explicit. I don't even think there's any nudity, but like in Drew's lovely image behind him, it's a intimate scene with the woman and her boyfriend, and the guy has he's very self conscious about this. Oh, speaking of our earlier discussion, he's very self conscious of the comparison of the weight of his crotch to the rest of his body, um, and it speaks to him literally.
It does speak to him. I think the reason he did that in that scene in particular, she said, "Why is it small?" And I
Yeah,
don't think that was the reason. I think he was just mad because he was like, "I really want this," but he didn't want it because this is the closeted guy.
yeah.
And so he like talked himself up as a player, and then she made him mad. She pissed him off, and he was like, "I'm gonna choke you." And he called her
Yeah,
a
it's
whore.
like
So,
you can be gay and be toxic masculine also. Because that's essentially what it is he was trying to force himself to be the player and his wiener was like even yeah, like his wiener was like, yeah, don't let her talk to you like that. She's a woman. And then he like strangles her. So
Yeah, there was one there's one scene where a phallus spoke to a person, and I was like, "Oh, is this a thing? This is going to be what happens?" But nope, that was it. It just
I know. I was like, Drew's gonna think I have a specific criteria for books because I made you read that other one where his dick speaks in the beginning, the one about the girl's name, the sorority one. Um, I haven't read that one by the way yet, so oops, sorry. But yeah, I you know the characters are okay. One of them was a little too Gen Z for me.
with
Very eye rolly. The one with black hair.
oh yeah, yeah.
I know you feel the same way. I'm all down.
You,
I'm all down for equal rights and
yeah.
women having more power than men, actually. But it's just at some point it's like, okay, I get it. Why are you walking, breathing, living? Every purpose of your being has to be about something like
Yeah,
political.
she was walking rage, and they implied that she had gone through some probably an assault or something like that, without really showing it. But yeah, she was a little. I don't know. I wasn't looking forward to her scenes by the end.
And it's also
Even the way
weird.
she's illustrated, she kind of has a like just an angry look, even toward the blonde at one point.
Well,
She
all of them look ugly. There's some parts where they're like the girl behind you, she's screaming, but she actually looks pretty. And like there's times where all of them look normal, but like when they are supposed to be look mad, I'm like, yeah, I just want to punch everybody in this book who looks mad because they look punchable.
well, I did, and one of the things I wrote down when I was reading it was that oh, you know what? There's actually two times. Sorry, there's two, there's two times where something talks to somebody. Okay, sorry, but I did write down that many of them I kind of, and you may disagree, but it kind of became a Friday the 13th movie for me at the end. By about halfway through, I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to root for death here, right? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Because it's like my
Yeah.
son asked me a long time ago. He's like, when you watch Friday the 13th movies, do you root for Jason? And I was like, of course I root for Jason. I'm not rooting for Jason. I'm rooting for for a creative, fun death or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely not rooting for the people. And so I kind of got that way with this about halfway through. I was like, all right, I'm rooting for interesting villains, animatronics and whatever else comes their way.
Yeah, because we want to
More
know
than
what's going on.
yeah, so that's really the best way to put it. I was kind of more, I think, rooting for a good mystery rather than the people. So
Yeah. And it's very strange because we uncover a lot of their personal lives where even I was at the point I was like, why are they friends? Um, and then a lot of them die quickly. And so there's a whole second volume out there that's not even out yet. And I don't even know where it's going to go because there's a whole lot of unresolved stuff. I don't know if they're going to come back. Some of them, maybe like some of them actually didn't die. I don't
um
know. Because
yeah.
like, and to add on to your point that it's kind of like Friday the 13th is like they kind of treated the characters like a Friday the 13th towards the middle because then they just kept dying. And you're like, well, I guess we won't know what happens at the end of that story.
Yeah. um I think so. They kind of bring in, and this, so I won't spoil it, but they kind of wait till the very end to reveal that there's sort of like a, I don't know, like a big old mystery thing. So
Yeah.
there's obviously the whole time you're like, well, how is this Gremoryland thing working? Is it supernatural or whatever, or is it just an elaborate setup? What's the deal? And then really, I think the tease for the second volume, whenever that happens, is really the end. Is kind of sets up like, yeah, here's a lot of reveals real quick, and then here's a tease. It really is like a little teaser for the next thing, where I think it'll take an entirely different direction. Well, it would have to, because
Yeah.
you've killed off your cast mostly.
Unless it's going to be, because I think it is embedded in revenge, unless it's going to be the next volume is half flashbacks and then the last half is what happens to the rest of the characters. But I don't know. Are you going to read the second volume?
I think I have to at this point.
Same. I
I
didn't
just
hate it. Let me just clarify. I didn't hate it. I thought it was entertaining. I was like, what the fuck, whenever it finally ended. But as the story progressed, the interesting concepts were building, but the character development was lowering.
Well, so I did like a few things about it. Like for instance, I do like the art style more color wise, and the people are drawn sort of plainly, and really the closeted guy, he's always in this pose where it's like his shoulders are puffed, and he just every time
He's
he
the
looks like
manly
an
man.
action figure.
Yeah.
Yes, he looks like an action figure. um but the way the art is, like light wise, like playing with shadows, I liked that all the way through. So
Mhm.
almost any, so if you have your book near and you just open it up, almost any page you'll see like really good shadow use. I mean,
Yeah,
not
like
good,
behind
but I
me.
mean, yeah. So everything is really well done with shadows. It really, to me, built the vibe of the thing, and kept me going more than just wanting to see, who killed, or not who killed, but what the villains would be. Because I kind of looked at it more like a creepy pasta. It actually made me think of that No End House. Did you see
Yeah.
the
Channel
season? Yeah,
Zero. Hmm.
yeah. So the Channel Zero No End House season, to me, it felt like that.
Yeah, you're
There was
right.
like
I didn't think about that, but you're right.
and because there are so many different like villains in this, and different animatronics and non-animatronics, that became killers and like funhouse type of like rough scenarios. It really, to me, it felt like a creepy pasta.
Yeah.
Like it would have probably been a good. I don't say this. I don't say this usually about a book that I think this would be a good movie, because usually I think if they make a movie out of a good book, they're going to do something to water it down. I'm not going to love it as much.
Hmm.
But this one, I don't know. I feel like if they did have a budget, like they could do something with it.
A film adaptation of this, when you mentioned it, I automatically thought of the new Texas Chainsaw on Netflix because they got all the like Gen Z, like really
Yeah.
annoying people. I was
Yes.
like, oh, they could just use that cast.
Pretty much. You're so canceled, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite scene. I didn't hate them. Did you hate that one?
Oh no, I loved it.
Okay, I
I thought it
liked
was
it too.
great.
Everybody said it was so terrible. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I liked it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it would be a cool adaptation. But or it could be, but it would have to be. It couldn't be a major motion thing. It would just have to be like a sci-fi
Now you
show.
never know.
you know?
Look how Five Nights at Freddy's went. Super
Yeah,
successful.
yeah. So I got to ask you a question. uh,
Okay.
two questions for you. Number one, what is the worst scenario that anybody faced in Gremoryland? And I'll tell you mine.
Hmm. Let's see. I don't know because I feel like all of them I would have been fine because I'm a functioning normal adult. Um,
There's a cat in front of my, yeah.
oh, I know.
Get out of here,
Um,
you feline.
oh,
Like,
kitty.
hello.
Aw. Um, I'm trying to I guess I mean it is kind of creepy about like the not making a noise trying to walk and or that thing is going to get you, but I also feel like I could probably outrun that stupid thing
Probably did it. Yeah,
or like
yeah,
knock it over. Um,
yeah. Well, it's on a. I kept thinking during that, I was like, it's on a track, dude. Like, move slightly to the
yeah,
edge,
yeah,
But
serpentine fashion.
you're right.
What's yours?
So for me, and this just brings me back to the to terrible PTSD memories of bad carnival rides. The room where they go into the spinny room and they're
Oh,
supposed to, like, it's going like a million miles an hour, I assume. I mean, it's static, but they're spinning around on like a target looking spiral floor, and they have to
yeah,
try to get a key.
I forgot what that ride's called, but it uses the G force to keep you sucked to the wall. There's no
Yeah, you get stuck
seatbelts
to the
or
wall.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed my answer to that one. I would have just died immediately.
I went to a carnival one time when I was probably like 17 or something, and I made the mistake of riding that ride first. And it was in Texas, and so I rode the ride, and I stumbled off of it, and it was like I was so nauseous and sick that I went to the intro to the place where the you walk into the to the park,
Hmm.
and I laid down on a bench and just for the next 2 hours, because I had friends there, and I was like, "Yep, y'all go on without me. I'm good." And so for the next 2 hours while they had fun, I laid on that bench and listened to like a local horrible country. I don't listen to country music at all. I hate it, and I was stuck listening to them, and yeah, it was terrible. So that would be the worst one for me, and I don't know how she got the key and stuck it in the door with it going fast. But anyway, so that
Um,
would be the worst.
yeah, you're right. Reading that part actually gave me anxiety because I forgot about that part.
Yeah, no, just looking at it, I was like, okay, I gotta get through this because
Yeah.
it's very spirally and very not fun. All right, so here's the question, and you may have looked it up, or you just knew it, but something tells me you didn't know it, and I could be wrong. What did you understand the one question they asked about what is Chandler's job?
Yes. I
You
don't know
do?
what it is, but I know they're talking about Friends, the show.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the kids on there are being asked questions about themselves, and they have to be honest and answer. It's kind of like Saw, you have to come clean. As long as you come clean, you're
Yeah.
good. You won't be killed. And then one of them says, and one of the questions is, what is Chandler's job? I have no idea what it is either. I just know that immediately in my brain I went to transponster because that's what they answer on the show. And the kids are just pissed. They're like, "What is this?" And so it's like definitely a question they just can't get right. But I was
Yeah,
wondering, I was
because
like,
it's like because I it's the category is Friends. And so but they think they're answering questions about themselves, not realizing Friends is also a TV show.
right.
Because they ask a couple of questions, like personal questions about them, and they're like, "What's Chandler's job?" And they're like, "Who the fuck is Chandler?" And I'm like, I don't think I know any other Chandler besides the Chandler on Friends. So I immediately knew what they were talking about. But again, if I was in the game, I would have died because I don't watch the show.
Yep, I would have known. I would have known the answer. I would have just known the wrong answer. No one remembers the right answer, but anyway.
I don't even know if there was a fake answer. So,
Yeah, yeah. I was
aw,
wondering. I'm proud of you for knowing it, though. I mean, I'm proud of you for recognizing what they were
thanks.
talking about.
Thanks. Again, because I'm a normal functioning adult.
Yeah, but I thought you might have read it and been like, "Friends." That's a what is it? Gen X, Gen Z. That's a
It's a
Gen
boomer
Z X
thing.
thing. Yeah, it's not a boomer. Well, yeah, it could be a boomer
Actually,
thing.
no, it's okay. So millennials are cut into two. There's older millennials and younger millennials. It's an older millennial thing.
Yeah,
We obviously are on different sides of that spectrum. But
vastly different. Different. We're not even 1,000 days apart. Well, yeah, we probably are. Anyway, let's not count. There's no reason to get into all that.
that's a lot of days. Um, but no, I mean, final thoughts of the book. I actually enjoyed it. If there is a volume two, I'm going to give it a chance, and I would be excited to read it. I hope. I mean, I was disappointed that some of the characters died because you give us these interesting setups where you're like, oh, how are they going to deal with that? And then they die. So it was kind of a letdown to have them. I mean, I don't care if they die later. Like, let's figure out the personal stuff and then kill them later. But I found it kind of a waste of emotion. Especially when you have such deep backgrounds as like the closeted guy or the girl and the guy's sister. Like that was pretty fucked up too. But we're not really gonna see, what comes of that because R.I.P. to those men. But I would
Yeah,
say out of 5 stars. I don't actually did I rate it on Goodreads already? Let me see.
I didn't see it.
I hate that Goodreads doesn't let you do half stars. But if they did, I would do 3.5 stars. But because they don't, I'm gonna have to do three because it's definitely not four.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think anytime I go half stars, I round it, but then I make sure to tell in my Goodreads review, I'm like, round it up or round it
Yeah.
down because I want them to know. Like, no. Um, yeah. So I think getting to the end of it, I would have probably been leaning more toward like 3 stars. Um, because a lot of the stuff with the characters, I was like, okay, I just want you to die, kind of. And also you're a little too angry at each other. You're flying off the handle like the guy from I think it's Scary Movie when they're making fun of the scene from I Know What You Did Last Summer where they're like, we
Oh,
take it to the grave, but on Scary Movie he's like kicking her and punching her to
yeah.
wait till I get to the grave. I was like, well, they're actually kind of doing that sometimes, but they do it on every movie now. It's like they have to be outraged at each other. And I'm like, but you guys are your friends.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would probably go with 3 stars, maybe 3.5, because the end of it, I think they stuck the landing sort of, and I think it really like kind of like set it up toward now I really kind of want to know what all that was about. So you introduced some new stuff right at the end to tease.
Yeah.
And one little thing, and I meant to say this earlier, one little thing that stood out to me though, that makes me kind of want to interview the author. Like I kind of want to interview Mr. Rasen, is or ask him a question. Is the character of Rami based on him? And the reason I wanted to ask that is because there's a there's a part in the book where the character of Rami holds up his little winner best short story thing. If you
Hmm.
want to look at it, it's on page 218, and he holds it up, and it's he wins. He's the winner for best short story for the bestseller by A. Rami. So it's
Oh,
Arami.
that's cute.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So you are a Rasen or Raisin or whatever, and he is just a Rami, because they never call him a Rami or anything. All it's so I'm like, wait a minute. Are you? I'm wondering if it's not obviously that he got trapped in Gremoryland. We know that probably didn't happen,
Yeah.
but is that character more based on him, more personal? I would ask him that. But anyway, so yeah, I would say probably I'd go 3.5 stars, just like you,
Yeah.
because I'm a
And
copycat.
yeah, because you're unoriginal and not creative. Just kidding. There actually is an interview, if you want to read it, on Bloody Disgusting with the author. I read like
Okay.
half of it. I'll send it to you if you're interested.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes Bloody Disgusting articles, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Um, but yes, so that's gonna bring a close to this episode. When volume 2 does come out, which is hopefully soon because volume 1 came out pretty recently. We'll probably read it and then we'll come back on here and finish it out. And then who knows, maybe they'll make a movie about it, starring some little Disney stars currently.
Yeah.
But with that said, I want to thank my horror buddy in Christ, Drew, for joining me today, and
Thanks for the
introducing
invite.
us to this wonderful cocktail of CarnEvil cocktail.
Sugar with sugar and
Yeah,
sugar and
sugar.
vodka.
Hey, sugar cubed because you have cotton candy, Dr. Pepper, and alcohol as a sugar. So there you go, sugar cubed.
There you go. Sugar cubed.
But anywho, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you liked the video. Give us a like, give us a follow. Drew will be back. He doesn't know it, but I'm gonna bring him back for my ABCs of horror. And we'll see you when we see you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.